Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a condition where the body's own circulatory system kind of turns on itself. And we're going to look at the incredible surgical techniques doctors use to rebuild these tiny one-way gates hidden deep inside our veins. So let's kick things off with a pretty sobering number. 500,000. That is how many painful open sores, we're talking venous ulcers, pop up in the US every single year because of this condition. So right off the bat, you know this is not just some minor cosmetic issue. It's a huge, debilitating health problem. Okay, here's the roadmap for today. First, we're going to get to the bottom of what the problem really is. Then, we'll zoom in to see what's actually going wrong inside the veins. After that, we'll follow a patient's journey to the operating room, check out the amazing surgical repairs, and finally, take a look at the results and what the future might hold. All right, Section 1, the problem below the surface. And the key thing to get here is that this goes way beyond just varicose veins that you can see. We're talking about a really deep-seated problem that causes severe complications for a very specific group of people. So who is this kind of surgery actually for? Well, it's not for minor aches and pains. The procedures we're about to get into are really a last resort. They're for patients with, and I'm quoting here, truly disabling symptoms. Think pain and swelling so bad it completely changes how they live their day-to-day lives. So what is the root cause of all this? It's a condition called chronic venous insufficiency, or CVI. The easiest way to think about it is like a major failure in your body's plumbing system. The deep veins in your legs just can't pump blood back up to your heart the way they're supposed to. This leads to backflow, which causes all that swelling, skin damage, and eventually, those really painful ulcers. Okay, so let's pop the hood and see what it looks like when blood flow really goes wrong. To get how they fix it, you first have to meet the heroes and, well, the villains at the heart of this whole story, all playing out deep inside your leg. The number one villain in this story is a thing called reflux. It sounds complicated, but it's just blood flowing the wrong way, backward in the veins. And that backward flow creates this damaging, high-pressure zone in the lower leg, almost like a pressure cooker. That pressure is what causes all the trouble downstream. And this visual just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you see our hero, a healthy valve. See how those two flaps snap shut? It's a perfect one-way gate. Blood goes up, it can't come back down. But on the right, that's the problem. The valve is floppy, it's scarred, it just can't close all the way. It's a leaky gate, and that leak is what lets blood flow backward and create all that damaging pressure. Now, what's really interesting is that these valves can fail in two main ways. The first is called primary insufficiency. The valve parts are all there, but they've just gotten weak and stretched out, kind of like an old rubber band that's lost its snap. But in secondary insufficiency, the valve has actually been damaged or even destroyed, usually because of scarring left behind by a nasty blood clot. So this all leads to a really important question. If this problem is so bad, why don't doctors just jump straight to surgery? Well, the answer is that this is incredibly complex stuff, and there's a very careful path a patient has to walk before they even get to this final option. I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? If the gates are broken, why not just call a plumber and fix them? Well, the reason is that this kind of surgery is really the absolute last stop. It's only even considered after a patient has tried everything else. It's a very deliberate step-by-step approach. And this slide shows you that journey. You start with the basics, like compression stockings and lifestyle changes. If that's not enough, doctors might deal with some of the surface veins. Then they look for blockages higher up, near the abdomen, and might even put in a tiny mesh tube called a stent to prop open a vein. It's only when all of these less invasive things have failed that deep vein surgery even gets put on the table. And the effect of this funnel is pretty staggering. Remember that 500,000 number we started with? Well, after you go through all those other treatments, you're left with only about 24,000 people a year in the US who are even candidates for this highly specialized surgery. So, for that very select group, what actually happens in the operating room? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at the two main strategies surgeons have in their toolkit to rebuild these critical little gates inside the veins. So, option A is to repair the valve that's already there. This works when the valve is just stretched out but not totally destroyed. You can think of it like a tailor altering a suit. Surgeons can go in and add a few stitches to tighten up the floppy flaps, or they can even wrap a supportive little sleeve around the outside of the vein to help it close properly again. But what if the original valve is a total loss? This is where surgical creativity just gets incredible. Surgeons might actually reroute the blood flow to borrow a healthy valve from a vein right next door. Or, get this, they can take a piece of vein that has a working valve, often from the patient's arm, and transplant it into the leg. And in what is just a mind-blowing procedure, they can create something called a neovalve, a brand new valve that they build from scratch using the patient's own tissue. All right, so after all of that amazing, intricate work, we have to ask the most important question. Does it actually work? And what does the future hold for this kind of treatment? Let's take a look at the data. And this right here is a really important number. 5 years after the surgery, about 65% of these repaired or rebuilt valves are still working correctly. That's a huge deal, because that long-term success is what gives patients lasting relief from their symptoms. Now, this slide is fascinating because it gives us a huge clue about how to get even better results. If a surgeon only fixes one valve, the ulcer healing rate is about 55%. Not bad. But look what happens when they do a multi-level repair, fixing several valves at once. The healing rate jumps all the way up to 73%. This tells us that it's often not just one broken gate, but a whole faulty system that needs fixing. So when you boil it all down, a great outcome really depends on two things. 1, the vein has to stay open and clear. And 2, that new or repaired valve has to work properly, stopping that backward blood flow. You get both of those right, and patients get real long-term relief. So we've seen this incredible journey from simple compression stockings all the way to building brand new parts inside the body. It just leaves you with one final thought. What's next? As technology keeps racing forward, is it crazy to think that one day tiny little robots could swim through our veins and do these repairs from the inside without a single cut? It's an amazing thought.